Welcome back to BJP Lifestyle, guys. I hope you are having a great day. If you're new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below right now to be notified when new videos go live. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. here on the channel. And you guys actually seem to really like the video where I gave myself a $1,000 budget and told you guys what I would buy if I was within that $1,000 budget for my Jeep. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out up here. It'll pop up. But yeah, that video up there, you guys seem to actually like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do another one of those, but this time I'm gonna give myself a little bit more and go up to a $5,000 budget. Now this is probably a little bit closer to what I've spent on my Jeep. I think I've spent a bit more than that, but I'm gonna give myself that $5,000 budget and just kind of go over the things that I would do and the things that I would buy if I have that $5,000 budget and a stock Jeep. Obviously that's not going to include anything like purchase price where you're going to actually be putting like a down payment down or anything like that. It's just going to go ahead and show just the basics of what I would start doing to it and start modding to it. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have like a $5,000 budget right away, but these are the things that I would kind of go through and the things that I would do. Now, like I said, I would recommend you check out that other video up here, wherever it's going to pop up, before you watch this one, because I'm actually going to kind of go over a lot of the stuff from that one and include that all into here. So I would definitely check that out and see kind of where we're at. So if you want more detail on those products and stuff, then definitely check out that video. But let's just go ahead and get right into this one. First things first though, I know someone commented on a previous video and said that my giant water bottle made them click off the video and dislike it right there. So if you have a problem with giant water bottles, then you probably have bigger issues, and yeah, you should probably click off this video too. Make sure you guys are hydrating, get some water in your system. It's hot out and you guys need to stay hydrated. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So the first thing I'm always going to recommend no matter what you're doing is go ahead and get that window tint done. If you know you're purchasing a new vehicle, if you're purchasing a new Jeep or anything, go ahead and just hit up your tint guy. If you don't have a tint guy, find a tint guy and go ahead and get that appointment locked in as soon as possible because you're going to want to tint it. I always recommend 20% on the front two windows, match the back, and then get 35% on the windshield. If you guys are in a place where you don't want to have to deal with police issues, where you guys might get pulled over and stopped a lot for the tint, then don't do the windshield maybe, just do like a tint strip across the top can look good. But overall though, 35% on the windshield is a huge upgrade for me and I love the look of it, and I think it really just kind of makes your Jeep stand out just a little bit more from others. Now like I said, we're running through the other ones. I'm just going to run through them all quickly and just go through the basic ones that I recommend, and we'll lump it all together into one big thing, and then we'll talk about the big things that are really going to change the look of your Jeep. And overall, the price is going to kind of vary, so it might go a little bit over budget with this one. But if it does, then, you know, it happens. But for the most part, it's kind of around that $5,000 range, so we'll try our best. So you got your window tint. Now you're going to want some black lug nuts. This is just if you're going with the stock stuff. So obviously with this $5,000 budget, there may be some wheels and tires in there, so you might not need the black lug nuts with this one, but those are a cheap little mod anyway. So the next thing is going to be the crew vinyl. That's going to be tinting out basically all the reflectors and stuff like that. I think it's a huge look on your Jeep, and I guess with any car you could be doing it. I don't know if Crew has it or Crux, whatever, however their name is said. I say that every video, I don't know how to say it still. They probably have it for everyone, or if you don't, there's got to be a company that has them. So if you don't have a Jeep Grand Cherokee, you have something else, then yeah, definitely just tinting out like reflectors and stuff like that and just kind of getting it cleaned up a little bit and blacking those out. Huge plus, and definitely recommend doing that. Next is going to be red calipers. I say red because that's what I did. Any color caliper. If you guys want to, I guess maybe the next video we'll do a 10K one, and then I think that'll kind of seal the deal and lock it in. Or maybe I'll give myself like 15K and just go all the way. What I would do if I had all that money invested into it or that much to spend on modifying it. But yeah, you could do Brembos basically is what I was going to say. So red calipers, you could just paint your calipers. I have a video up here. Check that one out if you have not already seen it. But red calipers, you could do blue, you could do yellow. Those are some common colors. Some people do like a neon, like lime green. You can basically do any color you want. Just go ahead and paint your calipers because it'll pop out a little bit better. Especially, like I said, since we may be doing wheels and tires, you might want to think about doing the red caliper. Next, if it's for a Grand Cherokee, we're doing the grill inserts, blacking those out because it needs to be done. Every single one needs it. I don't know why it doesn't come from the factory on every single model because it looks so much better than chrome, but there it is. Next thing I would do is debadging. I think maybe if I wasn't doing a sport build and I was doing more of an off-road style build, I probably wouldn't debadge it because it would add just a little bit more Jeep logos to it. But since I'm going for the sport look with mine all the time, then I go ahead and say debadge it. But again, that's another cheap one, just like the black lug nuts. That's not going to make or break this $5,000 budget. It's going to be like $25 to $60 for each of those, so it's really not too much anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Next thing is gonna be black mirror caps. Like I said, with mine, I wanna black them out. That's why I did with Plasti Dip. I would recommend you get them professionally wrapped or painted. But in this type of situation, if you guys have the chrome ones and you are going for more of an off-road thing, again, you might not want to black them out. You may want to just take the chrome and color match them to your paint color. That's the same thing and the same way, and I would still go ahead and recommend that. And then the last thing, if I have that within that cosmetic $1,000 budget I said last time, I'm gonna say roof wrap, because if it's for me personally, then I want to wrap the roof black. I think it looks really good and it kind of separates the white and the black and everything, especially with the windshield tint. It looks really, really good. So that's gonna lock down $1,000 of our $5,000 budget. And then the next one is gonna be roughly $1,000 to $1,500, and that's gonna be exhaust work. Now, with that $5,000 budget, you could probably get away with just getting a full catback system like I have on my car. I paid, I think it was like $900 and something to like $1,000. You can find them on sale for like $8 maybe, so you might be able to squeeze that in there with this budget, depending on if you're doing the work yourself with all of this different stuff, if you're finding deals on stuff. But let's just say exhaust work in some way, so $500 to $1,000 in that area. Just lock it down and just throw that money right away on the exhaust. Definitely recommend it. And then the next thing is the cold air intake. When you combine that with an exhaust, especially if you do like a catback system like I have on mine, which again, if you guys want to hear how that sounds, check out the video up here. I have videos for pretty much everything that I'm talking about here on the channel, so if you guys do want to tune in and check those out, then you can in the Jeep playlist. So the cold air intake and the exhaust is going to be like $800 to $1,300. So right there, that's a huge chunk. And then thrown in there, I would say paddle shifters if you don't already have them, which a lot of you guys will already have them, so you don't even have to worry about that mod. And then a throttle controller, which is going to enable you to have a little bit more throttle response. It's one thing that's kind of, a lot of people like it and recommend it, a lot of people hate it. I'm kind of torn, I'm in between. I like it sometimes I don't. Just, you know, it's a personal preference kind of thing, and that's kind of something you guys will have to play with and see if you like. So now right there, we're at about basically half of our budget, between $2,000 and $2,500. Like I said, this might go a little bit over because it depends if you can get things on sale or get things for good deals, or install prices if you guys are paying to get it installed or just installing it on your own. So basically half of our money right there is gone. And the worst part is that the rest of the money is basically going to be gone like that, because the next mod is going to be wheels and tires. Now, wheels and tires are probably one of the most expensive things that you can do on a vehicle, in any vehicle. If you do it on a car, it's a little bit cheaper. I mean, it depends what kind of wheels you're going to do. If you're doing an expensive wheel and expensive tire, it can run you a little bit more money. But for the most part, it's going to be a lot cheaper than if you're doing it on an SUV, especially if you're doing a lifted one where you're going to be putting even beefier, bigger mud off-road kind of tires, or if you're doing it on a truck. So in this type of situation where we're doing it on a Jeep, if you're doing it like a sport one, you're probably going to spend like roughly $2,500 or so, and that's like that's about what I spent on mine. That's for the replica wheels and the Nitto tires. So like I didn't get cheap Aturos or anything like that, which is what I was originally planning on. I ended up doing the Nittos instead of the Aturos, which cost me a little bit more, but in the end they should be better and overall quality is better. And that's about $2,500 roughly, with TPMS sensors mounted, balanced, everything ready to go. Now, I will say that it can be more, and it probably will be more depending on what you go with. I just went with some OEM replicas, so they're fairly cheap on the wheel side, for 22s at least. So if you guys are going to be doing that, but on the same side, if you guys are going to be off-roading with your Jeep and you want to take your Jeep into trails and stuff like that, then you're obviously going to want to shrink that down and go with like a 17 or something maybe. And even still, if you guys are on that off-road kind, you could do like some 17s and do some cheaper brand steel wheels that are just very, very, very basic, and just put a big beefy tire on those, because you're going to get them scratched up anyway off-roading. So do you care that much about the look of the wheel? You know, it kind of depends on what you guys are going for as far as the build goes. So I put $2,500 because that's about what I spent, and I feel like that's kind of a rough like middle ground kind of average, where you could end up spending 35 plus depending on what you're looking for and what you're trying to build. And then the last thing is going to be suspension. So I put lowering springs here because it's going to be, for mine, like I said, this is kind of my taste and what I'm doing. So I put lowering springs, and I put $500. That's if you were just buying them outright. They're about $300, and then I actually spent a lot more to get them installed, because me personally, I didn't want to install them or have to deal with any of that trouble on my own, so I just went ahead and paid people to do it. I put $500. It's going to probably cost about $500 to get them installed. That's what I paid anyway, and I have a good reputable shop near me that did that for me, and you know, $500 was worth it to me to have them installed. So it was about $800 for me, but I just put $500 just to be kind of safe, and I feel like for $500 you guys can get a fairly cheaper size lift and then install it yourself. So that's kind of where I was going with it. It was like, oh, you're gonna install this yourself kind of thing. We're in that $5,000 to $6,000 range with this, and that's with a lift, lowering springs, wheel and tires, everything blacked out, basically exhaust. So basically everything that you would want to do, bolt on, just basic stuff that's gonna change the look of your Jeep and make it into your own kind of personal vehicle, rather than the same thing that everyone else has. So I think that's pretty much going to close out the list. The wheels and tires and the lowering springs or the lift is going to completely change the look, and it's also going to completely just swallow up your whole $5,000 budget pretty much for the most part. So that's going to be about it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure you smash that like button down below. Help the YouTube algorithm, help this video get out to more people, and of course help the channel grow. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. Be notified when new videos go live. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. here on the channel. I've been saying that I'll get the Jeep logo tattooed if we can hit that 10,000 subscriber mark by the end of June, but unfortunately today's the 19th as I'm recording this. It's going up on probably the 21st, and yeah, we're not even at the 9,000 mark yet, so I don't think you guys are gonna push it and help me hit it. So that means no Jeep logo tattoo for me. I mean, if you guys can somehow pull it off, then I will, but for the most part, I think we're in the clear. Of course, check out Shop Lifestyle, get yourself some lifestyle merch. But thanks for watching, guys. Peace.